Okay, now we haven't really explained a lot about the useEffect hook here, and that's actually okay for the time being, because the useEffect hook has a lot of great explanations from the React team and the React docs, but it is important to at least know what it's used for. I think it's honestly a more effective approach to use the useEffect hook, to see what it's used for, and then to understand how it works and why. Now, you're going to probably have a lot of errors with the useEffect hook because it can be really tricky, especially when handling the dependencies in the dependency array. But for the time being, everything we have right here is really all you need to know to run HTTP requests as soon as a component is mounted to the screen. Now, to see the useEffect in action, or the useEffect hook in action, or at least to learn a little bit more about it, I highly recommend going to the React docs, going to the hook section, and taking a look at the useEffect hook. Now, there's a reason why we used the useState hook first and then the useEffect hook seconds, as these are the two most used hooks that React provides us with. And I highly recommend just going in here, checking out, reading what the useEffect hook is done, or what is used for, how it works, and all of the idiosyncrasies that come with the useEffect hook. It is a very powerful tool. It can be misused at times, so it's a good idea to check it out. If you want to learn a little bit more about the Axios package, which describes itself as a promise-based HTTP client for the browser and Node.js, go to github.com/Axios/Axios. I mean, it has 84,000 stars. This is not a joke package. It is one of the most used packages for making HTTP requests in existence. Highly recommend it. It's just, the interface is clean, it works well, it's fantastic. There's a lot you can do with it, and there's a lot of ways you can customize it. Check it all out. It's good to know, but this is really all we did here. Axios.get. Now, they're using the .then syntax with promises. We're using async await. It doesn't really matter. They all work the same. But that's just a little bit more insight if you do want to learn more about this and not just how to use this to build applications. We, on the other hand, are going to move on to the next part, which is making sure that this application looks a little bit better than just a tiny little post, the title of the post, whenever we preview a particular post. And so we're actually going to build a single component to handle that called PostPreview, because it's going to look a lot nicer. And styling is half the battle in a lot of these things. You can build something that's amazing, that works incredible, but until someone sees it and it looks pretty, it's hard to convince them that it's cool. So we're going to make it pretty. So make a new component called PostPreview.js and create a CSS file along with it. And inside that PostPreview file, import PostPreview.css, and then export default a function called PostPreview. That function should accept a post, and we're just going to make it an empty object for the time being as a default argument, and it is going to return a div with a class name equal to PostPreviewContainer. Oops. And inside that container, we're going to have two things. Let's have another div in there that is going to be a post preview cover. And then below that, let's create one for class name equals post preview body. And then below that, div class name equals post preview footer. So just the cover, which will be a nice little image that we'll add in there, the body, and the footer. And in here, let's just go ahead and, you know what, let's leave this for the time being. In the post preview body, we will add a div with a class name equals post preview title. We could probably just call it title. I don't know why I'm making all my class names super long, but sometimes it pays to be descriptive. And then I'm going to put the title here, and below that, I'm going to display a nice little preview. Class name equals post preview summary. And so I'm just going to take the post, and I'm going to say post.content.substring 0 to 100. We're just going to take the first 100 characters, and then we're going to add plus ... on the end of it. So it'll be an actual preview. We could probably make it less than that, but that's fine for the time being. Now down here, all we're going to do is we're going to display a span with the class name equals, what do we call this? Published at. And let's import moment, because this is the perfect time to use the moment package. Import moment from moment. And what moment is used for is it's a classic package responsible for formatting dates in a nice way. So we're going to say moment, and we'll say post dot, what was it, published at? Is that what we called it? I think so. And dot calendar. So it'll give us this cool little like 2 days back, today at, stuff like that. And then here, let's create another div. I think we'll put maybe the author here. Div class name equals post preview author. And yeah, that looks nice. Well, you know what? I'm just going to leave that there for the time being. We'll just put an empty React fragment here so that nothing goes there, but we'll put something there in a little bit. So now we have our post preview component. Let's add some style to it. Now, these are going to be a lot of styles, so I'm going to rip through them pretty quickly. Don't freak out too much. You can pause it. Feel free to pause at any time because I just want to get through these as quickly as possible. We do want it to look nice, but we don't want to have a course on CSS. So I'm just going to make it a white background, a margin of 48 pixels auto, a width of 600 pixels, the same way, or let's go max width. Same thing we did with the content in the nav bar. Let's go width of 100%. Let's give it a border radius of 8 pixels, and let's make sure it displays block. Then let's say post preview cover, and let's give it a background size of cover. Let's give it a border radius of 8 pixels, 8 pixels, 0, 0. So only the top 2 corners are curved. Let's give it a height of 240 pixels. Okay. Then let's go ahead and do the body. Post preview body. And let's say margin 0 auto and width 80%, just so that it's not the whole width of the element and is centered nicely. And then let's also say post preview title H1. Let's give it a color of not quite black, but blackish. And then let's make it font weight thin. Font weight of 100. Let's also, what do we call that? The summary? I can't remember. Maybe we get it wrong. That's fine. Let's give it a color that's slightly not quite as dark. 4D? Yeah, that sounds nice. And then we'll handle the footer. And we'll give it a border top of 1 pixel. Solid, almost white. E6, E6, E6. And then we'll give it some padding just so that it is spaced out nicely. And we put a span down there or something like that for the publish date. Post preview footer. I can't remember. Let's see. Was that a span? Yeah, that's a span. Okay. It's called this published at. Okay, so let's say color. Let's make it like a gray. And then let's make it a little bit smaller, 14 pixels. Letter spacing. Let's make it a little bit spaced out. Text align center. Text transform uppercase, so it capitalizes everything. And make sure it stays on one line. So white space, no wrap. Then let's also give it a border of 1 pixel. Solid 999. Border radius 3 pixels or 4 pixels maybe, something like that. And then padding 0, 8 pixels. Okay. You know what? Let's actually give this a nice little box shadow too, just so that it looks like it's a little bit elevated off the page. Box shadow, let's 0, let's go 4 pixels, 2 pixels, negative 2 pixels, and then let's make it black, but almost entirely see-through. Something like that. And then let's head back to our page, and then instead of having just, where we put that in the home, right here, instead of using this post preview, let's actually import the post preview component. Import post preview from post preview. /PostPreview and use that instead with the post. So we'll say PostPreview, post equals post, and then let's give it a key equals post.slug. Because remember that whenever you iterate over a list in React, it needs a unique identifier so that it can render them correctly. And so that attribute should be known as the key. And we know that the slug is unique, so the key we're using here is the slug. And so we come back here and we see our components rendered. Now we should probably add a nice little image here and maybe not make this background white. So let's go to the app. Let's make the app a little, maybe like a light gray for the background. What is just app, or yeah, capital app. Okay, app. Let's give it a background of F6 FE, just so that the whole thing is like a little bit light gray, so you can actually, oh, that's nice, so you can see it here. And then let's put a nice little image here from Unsplash as well in the hero image if the post preview does not come with an image. So this cover, we should probably get a default image here. Const default cover image equals, and then let's go to Unsplash and find a default cover image. And I typed in nature here, and I'm going to pick, let's see, what's a nice one? I'm going to pick this one here because it's also green and has trees and looks pretty. So I'm going to right click that, open image, new tab, grab this image, head back, and use that as the default cover image. And so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to say, oh, not in the author, let's do it in the cover. So if the post does not come with a background image, I'm going to say either post.coverImage or default cover image. So that hopefully looks a little bit nicer. Let's see. Ah, cool. We could probably make that look a little bit better, but for the time being, that's perfect. And so then we're going to, next thing we're going to do is we're going to link to each individual post by clicking on this card here on the post preview itself. But that's been more than enough for this video. It's already pretty long. So we'll wrap it up and we'll get into how to use React Router in the next one.